Hello, Chris from ChannelX here. Delighted to be with Swan in Stoke-on-Trent with Emma and Katie to talk about their experiences of selling on marketplaces, and in particular one new marketplace that they've recently started selling on. So welcome Emma, welcome Katie.
Thank you for coming up.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And love the products, by the way.
Thank you, yes. You've got the perfect angle here to showcase them all on the video as well, so people can see what fabulous ranges that we do.
Yeah. So first of all, you're a very, very old brand. You've been around since way before I was even born.
Yeah.
But marketplaces are relatively new. So which marketplaces do you sell on, and what's your general marketplace experience been like over the last years?
So I think predominantly for us as a brand, so Amazon was always the first marketplace. Over the years, the likes of eBay was next in line. And then more so in the recent years, following really from COVID, we've seen the likes of OnBuy, Mano Mano, and B&Q as well, that came on last year. But one of our most recent marketplaces that we worked with is Debenhams. And first of all, thanks to you, because if it wasn't for the ChannelX conference that I attended, we wouldn't be working with Debenhams at the moment. So we started with working with Debenhams back in, I think it was November, the account started. And it's become really successful. So I think the growth, what we've seen, and the support at Debenhams that we've had has made Swan grow really quickly on the platform.
So that's great to hear. And for other brands that are looking at Debenhams, first of all, can you tell us a bit about what your first experience with them was like? Obviously, you met Debenhams at ChannelX World and find out they're a marketplace looking for brands like Swan. But what was it like when you got back to the office and rang them up and said, okay, we want to engage with the marketplace? What did you have to do? What was the account set up like? What was the tech like? What was the actual process of getting started like?
Well, to be honest, we didn't have to ring them. They were after us, so that made the transition really smooth. I think initially when we were introduced to Debenhams at the conference, just the transition to the discussions on how we move forward, how we get set up was relatively easy. I think within the first week, we'd had meetings with 3 different people, and we were sent over the contract. We were looking at how we were going to trade, what were the processes were needed, and I think it took about 3 weeks before we were live on the platform. Now,
which is pretty quick.
Very quick, yes. And of course, just in time for peak season, because it was coming up to Black Friday at that point as well. So as much as Debenhams were really keen to get us working with them, we were of course really keen to work with them, especially because with the brand name as Debenhams, especially that time of year, consumers would always go to Debenhams for a good deal or for some Christmas gifting. So between ourselves and Debenhams, I think the collaboration worked really quickly and really well. Debenhams initially wanted us to be integrated, and we discussed potentially through Shopify, which was at the time one of the easiest ways of integrating. Now, internally, some of our systems are going through a bit of a change, and it's been taking place over the past 6 months, so we weren't able to integrate on a separate channel. Shopify was a little bit difficult as well because of the add-ons and how it worked with our system internally, so we set up manually. We're still manual at the moment, so everything that we do is we download CSVs, we import CSVs, vice versa, we set pricing manually, and things like that. So at the moment for us it is quite a long process just to maintain the account on a daily basis, but the hard work is paying off. And we are in the process now of having Debenhams integrated through Limworks, which should be live in the next few weeks.
So that should make life a lot easier and quicker for a day-to-day.
A lot less stressful, a lot less drawn out, and then it should make the whole process a lot more streamlined as well.
So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the products. We've got purples, yellows, greens, creams, blues. What are your favourite colours, and how do you decide which ranges to put on Debenhams?
My favourite, personally, I like the blue and the grey.
I like the green. I'll
Yeah,
put my
yeah.
hat there. What, Katie?
Pink every time. Pink every time.
Katie loves pink.
Yes, I do love
So
pink.
just between the three of us, there's quite
Yeah,
quite a
broad
range
range.
wanted.
We're rainbow.
Yeah.
But how do you decide which of your product sets to put on Debenhams? Have you got everything on there? Have you chosen particular ranges, or have you gone for particular colours?
It's everything. We go for everything that's available. The only limitations that we have on Debenhams is every category isn't open to us. So as it stands at the moment, I would say 90% of our catalogue is listed on there. But one thing that we are currently, and this is really good because when we're working with the account manager at Debenhams, saying, oh, we've got this product, can you open up a category for us, because we know it sells really well elsewhere and we think you're missing out on sales opportunities. So we're in the process of setting up a white goods category. So hopefully with some of our fabulous retro refrigeration that you've seen, and under-counter fridges, coolers, once that is open for us, then that should hopefully drive sales even more.
And from a marketing perspective, I didn't say that word right.
Perspective,
yeah. We always our products kind of sell themselves, as you're aware, with the images, and we've got some really lovely lifestyle images of them, so people can visualise them in their kitchen. So through setting them up with Debenhams, we kind of resize them so they look correct on the platform. I think you can have up to 6 images, which is brilliant. So you have your first white background image, which is obviously just the image on a white background, and then you've got loads and loads of different images so people can visualize it, see up close. And then we really focus on product descriptions, keywords, and titles as well, like headline strap lines for a title of a product. Just pulls people in, and I think that's what's so good about how you and Lily were saying with the Debenhams platform, is you can put a lot of detail into that, which is really good.
Yeah, and I think Debenhams is one of those brands in themselves, a bit like Swan, that everyone's grown up with.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Used to go into shops, they're now an online department store, but they've got that history the same as the Swan brand, which I think is a really nice relationship to have.
There used to be, just down the road, there's a really large shopping centre, and there used to be a Debenhams in there that was 3 floors, and I always remember as a kid going in there, and that's where you got all your Christmas presents from. So when Katie said we're trading with Debenhams again, it just brings back memories, really.
Yeah,
and I think that's one of the biggest attractions of the marketplace, is that it's got that resonation with everyone from having grown up with the brand.
And even like with one thing with Debenhams, it was always renowned for the Blue Cross sale, and that is still a thing. And we always get involved in promotional activity, and try to have as much brand visibility as possible on the platform. And when we were involved in the first Blue Cross sale, it was phenomenal. The results absolutely through the roof. And I think sometimes when you're not used to trading with a certain company or a certain brand name and things like that, there's always that hesitation. How well are we going to do? Is it going to work for us? But for us, where we're sitting now, and the potential we've got with Debenhams over the rest of the year is out of this world, isn't it? It's really exciting.
And do you know if you're seeing a different customer with Debenhams to the other marketplaces you said, like Amazon, eBay, OnBuy, B&Q, or is it perhaps the same customer just buying on a different platform?
I think ultimately from a marketplace perspective, we've seen a few dips, we've seen a few upsells, and I think it's been difficult because of how the market has been generally over the past 12 months, just because of the cost of living. So it's really hard to decipher if the customer coming through from Debenhams is coming from another marketplace, because sales have dipped a little bit generally anyway. But I think what we do see, and we're one of those brands that we try to give good, really quality, affordable products, and at a reasonable price as well. And even on Debenhams, we get full price for a lot of our products, and that's really good for us as a brand, because it maintains that brand value, and it means that we don't have to reduce prices elsewhere. We can just be consistent across across the whole category, with any kind of marketplace that we work with. So Debenhams shows as a platform that we don't have to lower the value of a product in order to gain a sale, because customers trust Swan, but they also trust Debenhams as a platform at the same time.
I think that's really important, because so many platforms nowadays that they'll promise you the sales, but you've got to cut prices, and it's always got to be on a special offer, even though it's not Black Friday. So how have sales been building since November? Obviously, November Black Friday was a great time to start.
Yes.
It's probably you started at the peak.
Yeah.
But what's sales been like so far in 2023?
So January and February were quite steady. They were still, of course, they're not going to be as high as what they were when you're going through a typical peak trading period, November and December. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, because we couldn't foresee how it was going to continue moving forward, we're really happy with the sales, and I think we've seen an uplift in about 15% month on month. I think because we're putting new products on there, so it's really difficult with it being such a manual process. Uploading one product can take you 24 hours, making sure all the descriptions, the imagery is the right size, and because we have to work with the marketing team to get all that done, it isn't something that can be done straight.
That's going to change when you got the Limberts integration.
Yes, of course it'll be like that. Bob's your uncle, and then through the roof. So we've seen some really good sales traction from it. And I think at the moment it's kind of steadying out. We've just done a Mother's Day promotion. We're now getting into another Blue Cross sale that starts this weekend, so we're hoping to see some good traction from that as well. So now we're adding more product, gaining more visibility. I think, at Debenhams at the moment, we had a call with our account manager, John T, a couple of weeks ago. And so Debenhams are like reinvigorating their website as well to make it more appealing to the consumer, making it more user friendly. So I think that will really help us to, as a brand, to feature on there. And one thing that I do really love about the platform is when you go to the home and kitchen section, and you filter down into little bits, and it says brands we love, and Swan is in the brands we love. So yeah, we must be doing something right. Yeah, Debenhams loves us, so what more could we want?
So Debenhams, home products, as well as many other categories from clothing to beauty.
Yeah.
Definitely tick in the box for brands and retailers that want to get on board.
Yes, highly recommend. Yeah, and I think even just the people at Debenhams, in that just very supportive. They're always at the end of the phone. They're always not chasing us, but trying to work with us, collaborate with us from a marketing perspective as well. We're hopefully going to do some social collaborations with them in the coming months and things. So the opportunity, but I think Debenhams are learning as well, and about how we can target the younger consumers and things like that. So we're kind of following their trends, but giving them a little bit of insight as to what we know as a brand, what's worked in other places, to hopefully give them a bit of insight into we know what works for us as a company as well.
Fantastic. Emma, Katie, thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. Thank you.